Hi, this is Cheryl Gallant, your Conservative Member of Parliament for the thankful riding of Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke. As we learn more about the government's failure to confront the pandemic, the more the Liberals have tried to distract Canadians. Yesterday, the Trudeau Liberals recycled its announcement on its single-use plastic ban. The Liberals are banning grocery bags, stir sticks, six-pack rings, plastic utensils, some foodware, and plastic straws to make it look like they are doing something, other than prolonging the lockdowns by delaying rapid testing, that is. The government chose to designate plastic as a toxic substance under the Canadian Environmental Protection Act. The middle of a pandemic is not the time for ideological liberal policies and desperate attempts to change the channel. The health and safety of Canadians should be the number one priority for the government. It's shameful that it's not. Thousands of workers in the plastic manufacturing industry across the country, including Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, and British Columbia, have to start looking for work during a pandemic. This policy raises serious safety concerns during a pandemic when, in many cases, plastics are what is keeping family-owned restaurants open and our loved ones in long-term care homes safe. Replacement products will be yet another cost for thousands. Scott Davidson put forward a private member's bill, C-204, that would ban the export of non-recyclable plastics to foreign countries. We saw what a sham recycling had become when videos of sea cans full of plastic from Canada showed up on the shores of developing countries. The Liberals should support this important Bill 204. Fast track it if they really want to do something about plastic pollution. The federal government can play a collaborative role with the provinces in order to improve how plastic waste is recycled in Canada. A government report found in 2016 only 9% of plastic waste is recycled in Canada, with 87% ending up in landfills. The recycling stopped when the subsidies stopped. Taxpayer-funded enterprises are unsustainable, and this is unacceptable. Last year, I had the opportunity to visit a leading-edge recycling center in Chester, Nova Scotia. Check out this clip on the plant and see how a ton of your unwanted curbside garbage goes from the roadside and is recycled into different grades of fuel, with just a handful of sand as the end waste.
Company that recycles regular garbage, so black bag or clear bag garbage. We can recycle the materials out of that bag and sell those as products. The truck comes that would go to a landfill, comes to our facility here in Chester, dumps it onto a tipping floor, pulls out any materials that shouldn't be there, and then we shred everything up. Then we go through 15 stages of separation before we get to our final products. Essentially what we're doing is separating and making clean products again. The main product is a biomass pellet. By weight, 50% of garbage roughly is biogenic, so it came from a plant. A good example would be something like a paper cup. This would go into a biomass fuel pellet. The biomass pellets are used for industrial heat and to replace fossil fuels. by solving the problem of how to separate garbage, now we've got this clean supply of plastic that is pure energy. We can very simply take that back to oil through pyrolysis, basically heating without oxygen, and we get back to pure hydrocarbon, petroleum type fuel. And we use a portion of that, roughly a quarter, to run the whole facility, and then we can sell the remaining diesel into the market. The capacity of the plant here is 70,000 tons a year. We're going to ramp up over the next roughly 3 months to a capacity of 50 to 55,000, which is all of the waste that is going into the Chester landfill today. For every ton of garbage that comes into the Chester landfill, we reduce 2.5 tons of carbon that goes back to the atmosphere. That's the net difference with this process. So for a plant the size of Chester, that's 40,000 cars off the road. That's equivalent to 40,000 cars in terms of emissions. Our initial focus is making fuel for industry, but what we can see now is we can do better than that. It's not going to be difficult for us to make fuel that can be used for heating oil for your house. It's not going to be difficult for our, carbon neutral biomass pellets to be able to be used residentially in future. We're not there today, but I can see that we can be there. What we're doing here will maintain Nova Scotia's position as a leader in recycling in Canada.
Lately. And much like firearms, which scare people uneducated in their legal usage, plastics are also easy targets. Banning unpopular products like firearms or plastic might make people feel better, but it does not solve the problem. It can make the real problems even worse. Encouraging private industry to create scientific solutions, as we see with Sustain, will lead us to a greener, cleaner future. McNabb-Braeside Mayor Tom Peckett has led the charge in Renfrew County to bring this technology to the valley. Speaking of Liberal bans, the Liberal ban on scary-looking firearms continues to give the Liberals problems. Last week, I told you about the government canceling a tender to purchase a prohibited firearms buy-up program. Not a single company bid on the project. When I asked the minister what they were planning now, he dodged the question. Now we know why he was being so evasive. Thanks to the Canadian Shooting Sports Association, we learned the government has issued a secret tender. If you read this secret document and compare it to the previous tender, one thing is absolutely clear. The Liberals are panicking. The new tender requires all the work to be completed by the end of the year. Within 2 weeks of the contract being awarded, an entire work plan is required to be completed. This federal government does not move at warp speed. When it does, mistakes are made. What kind of mistakes will be made this time? And how much will those mistakes end up costing Canadians? Rest assured, we plan to keep the pressure on the government to come clean. Live from Ottawa.